Yes guys, welcome back. So we are handling with recognition and measurement from here on. Guys, recognition and measurement is one of the most important aspects. So what we have been discussing so far is only the preliminary part of the standard. So let's get back to recognition and measurement, one of the most important parts. Let me just check if we are live or not. So I think I was live. I'll be taking up your comments as well. I don't find many of them connected back again. So just wait for a second. Guys, connect back fast. It can't take so long. Guys, connect back fast, fast, fast. Get back fast. I've given you a break so that you people can have some water, can go to washrooms and other stuff. Guys, in the comment section, the place from which you're streaming, I want your place from which you're streaming. You're streaming from Hyderabad, you're streaming from Chennai, you're streaming from Bangalore. I want the place from where you're streaming. I hope that you people are safe, but please make sure that I am notified from where you're streaming. Please put it in the comment section. Wherever you're from, please put it in the comment section. I just wanted to see where you people are from. We have some time because we did not get all the students back. Waiting for them to be back. Karnataka, Sachin, Fab, bro. Hyderabad. How's Hyderabad treating, man? How's the lockdown going? Lockdown? Tirupati. Santosh. Hubli. Yes, guys, how's the lockdown treating everyone? Fed up with the lockdown? So what is the latest news that we have is probably the education institutes could be shut for a much longer period of time than what you people are expecting. The lockdown might probably end after May 3rd, May 7th, May 20th, whatever dates the state governments and the central governments have decided, I have no idea. But especially when it comes to the education institutions, the bigger problem would be that they might be shut for a much prolonged period of time. So all those people who are still waiting for the face-to-face classes to go up, I can see some people have actually texted me regarding face-to-face classes. I don't see any near-time possibility of face-to-face classes coming up, guys, because education institutes have to basically agree that we might be putting a lot of students to risk because we have all cramped up classrooms on today's date, right? Everyone agrees that we don't have such a liberty where the exam halls are much spacious than what you can see in a classroom kind of environment. So these live classes should keep you updated, should keep you going. I don't think so this is the problem. Exams, guys. Rakesh, I think you have a very big obsession regarding the exams, man. June 24th or whatever the date, I think ICA has announced it as June 24th. And they will be on that date. There's no doubt regarding that, man. There's no doubt. See, they will make arrangements in such a way that probably your seating might be a little more, probably spread out than what it is. But 100% by that time, you will not see the same situation prevailing. So I think you have to keep up. Will the exams be cancelled? Varad, you waiting for the exams to be cancelled or what? Dude, the point is the exams should not be cancelled, right? The exams should go on. That is how more number of students will pass out and you don't have to slog for even further more period. I would be really irritated if my May exams are postponed to June. How many AS will you cover? Sachin, I'll try to cover as many as possible, man. Either in the live session or in the recorded session, my concept is basically to cover as many as possible along with even the practical illustrations as well. So I'll come back to that. I think we have more than 30 people who have already joined the live. So I can start up the session. The remaining people might join the session at a later point of time. But what we're talking about right now is the recognition and measurement. So the recognition and measurement. Yeah, Monica, I'll do the Ind AS 115 continuation part as well. So recognition and measurement, when I'm talking about, I'm first bringing in the concept straight into the concept of lessee one. Because if you remember, we did discuss about lessee's accounting and I said lessee is the one which has undergone a change. And I gave you a word, if you remember, ROU asset. So this ROU asset is what will bring up now whenever we are doing the recognition under lessee's account. In a simple sense, a lessee will recognize an asset, an ROU asset, 100% under any lease, be it a finance lease or an operating lease. We will have to recognize the transaction, or we will have to recognize the entry as ROU asset account debit to lease liability. Be it a finance lease or be it operating lease, I will go only with this kind of entry which I have written right now. ROU asset account debit to lease liability. This is the entry that I will recognize whenever there is a lease, be it a finance lease or an operating lease, in the books of lessee, or in the language of the standard, we have also been calling him as a buyer. A buyer or the lessee will basically recognize the transaction as ROU asset account debit to lease liability. Whenever we come up with this logic of ROU asset account debit to lease liability, we will have to first understand what is the measurement then. If this is your recognition, I agree that this is the recognition concept. Then what is the measurement then? There is an amount which has to be written. What is the amount that I will write? So when we come to the concepts of measurement, we will have to measure it at present value of lease payments over the lease term. It is present. When I'm looking at the measurement, I'm saying it is present value of lease payments over the lease term and should be discounted at the discount rate which is applicable out here. The discount rate which is applicable over here will be implicit rate of return, which is nothing but the IRR, or if not possible to get implicit rate of return, we will use incremental borrowing rate. Now, what is this present value of lease payments over lease term? What is the discount rate? When I was talking about implicit rate of return or incremental borrowing rate, what do they mean? Interest rate implicit from lease. When I come up with this logic, IRR, or I'll call it as interest rate implicit from lease. it is nothing but the rate at which the fair value of asset is equal to the present value of future lease payments over the lease term. So you have to use the IRR logic, guys, to get this, where you take all the lease payments in a stream, check at what rate it is equal to the fair value. So where you fund, once you apply, you'll get an NPV negative. Once you apply, you'll get NPV positive. Between those two rates lies the IRR. So it's the same IRR language. But generally, I'm talking about this will be given in the exam. You don't have to break your head for that. Fine. Sir, practically possible? Yes, possible. What is there? Is equal to IRR rate is anyways there. It is a Excel formula for IRR. So in the exam, it will be difficult to find out IRR using those formula which you have learned earlier. But as far as Excel is concerned, Excel will give you the result right like this and without any problem. Then what is an incremental borrowing rate? I will use an incremental borrowing rate if I am not able to establish what is an IRR. What is an incremental borrowing rate? Why do people go for a lease? Because I don't have sufficient money to buy the asset. Absolutely right. So if I take the asset on lease, monthly I have to pay it. But if I have to buy the asset, then I'll have to immediately pay such a huge amount of money to buy the asset. So what is the other alternative? Instead of leasing it, take a loan and buy the asset. Absolutely right. If you have a problem in paying the entire amount upfront, that is your basic problem, then go to a banker. The banker will give you a loan. With that loan amount, you go and buy the asset, whatever you want. Even that is an option. Now, my question is, if I would have gone, had I gone to Kaushik sir is saying, excellent session. Kaushik sir, definitely not better than yours. You are the best. You are the best. So, yes, guys, I'm getting into the concept back again. So, I'm saying if I would have gone to the banker, borrowed money, and I would have tried to repay the loan. If I would have bought an asset by borrowing the money, at what rate the banker would have lent the money to me? That is called as incremental borrowing rate. I'll again repeat why the concept of incremental borrowing rate appears. Why did you go for a lease? Because I cannot purchase the asset immediately. Absolutely right. Because I don't have so much of money to buy the asset at one single shot. Let's say the asset value is about 1.5 crore. 1.5 crore of cash I do not have in my pocket right now. What do I do if I don't have 1.5 crore in my pocket? Rather, I would basically try to borrow funds from a banker, go and basically pay, buy the asset and keep repaying this loan in installments. Or the other easier option is going for leasing the. So lease is always an option or an alternative to purchasing the asset on by borrowing the money. So when you borrow the money, instead of leasing it, if you have gone with the option of buying the asset by borrowing funds, then at what rate would have you borrowed the funds is called as incremental rate of borrowing. Whenever we talk about these kind of logics, so this is basically what my ROU asset should be measured at. Measured at present value of lease payments over the lease term. So now let's take an example. I will start using Excel so that it will become easier for me to get this logic. I hope I will not be confusing you people with a lot of Excel on. Yes guys, let's say I came back to an Excel sheet. I hope everyone can see my screen. Yeah, I think the Excel is visible. Yeah, let's say for example, the lease term is, I'll just increase the, so that it becomes big. 20,000 rupees is what I have to take. Now, let's say now I have to find out what is the value of lease payments. Guys, one second. I'm sorry. Again, this has become small. Yeah. Now, if I have to find out what is the value of ROU asset, so I'll write the entry as ROU asset account debit. To lease liability. If this is my entry, I just need an amount to be written out here. So I'll put the amount like this is equal to present value, sorry, sum of, oh, I wanted you people to see it, right? So I'll put it like this. Let me take it as per annum so that it'll be easier for us to calculate. So I wanted you people to understand the calculation. I will not use formulas, okay? So first year, second year, third year, fourth year, and fifth year. These are my 5 years. And the amount to be paid or lease payments under this would be 20,000 rupees every month. Now I want a PVF, present value factor. I need an interest rate, right? So let's say that the IRR of this, I'm just taking it for a purpose because I told you anyways it will be given in the exam. I'm taking it as 10% is equal to 1 divided by 1.1. So I got the PVF like this. And the subsequent PVF, I'll keep dividing it by 1.1 again, 0.826, 0.74751, 0.683, yeah. So I've got it. So I'm just bringing it to 2 decimals for the purpose of ease. Now I'm talking about it. So present value factors, if I have to consider, I'm sorry, DCF or discounted cash flows, if I consider, then I will be taking it up like this as a multiplication. I will sum this is equal to sum of I got it as 75,000. I got it as 75,815. So I will have to recognize this ROU asset as 75,815.74. This is the entry that I will record as far as my balance sheet is concerned. Clear? This is the logic. When I talk about recognition, if someone wants to take that down, you can take it down. If you have understood, you can move on, no problem. Yes, guys. So whenever I'm talking about initial recognition, I will debit the ROU asset or I'll recognize an asset as an ROU asset and I will credit a lease liability during the period. Be it finance lease, be it operating lease, I'm least bothered. I would use the same technique under operating or finance lease if I'm talking from the books of the lessee out there. Now, if I'll go back, so this is what I said. So I would use the asset definition as measurement as present value of lease payments over the lease term. So the lease term was 5 years and I kept on basically discounting the entire cash flows or stream of cash flows, taking an IRR rate of 10%, and that is the answer which I got. Now, what about subsequent measurement? Now you people can come back to me the sheet and talk about the subsequent measurements. My subsequent measurement of ROU asset as well as my lease liability, both of them I have to talk about. Subsequent measurement, I'll have to talk about ROU asset. I'll also have to talk about the lease liability. How will I subsequently recognize an ROU asset? How will I subsequently recognize a lease liability? ROU asset, subsequently, I'll go as per Ind AS 16. I hope everyone remembers Ind AS 16 subsequent recognition can be as per either cost approach or revaluation approach. Guys, if you people do not know Ind AS 16, then you can go back to my channel. There is a particular video made on Ind AS 16. You can refer back to that. Either cost approach or revaluation approach, you can follow either of them as per Ind AS 16. Lease liability, when it comes up to, I will start recognizing subsequently the lease liability at amortized cost using effective interest rate. This is the terminology. This is the terminology which is used under your Ind AS 109 as well, where you have amortized cost assets or liabilities which are measured, financial liabilities or financial assets which are measured at amortized cost. You use it based on amortized cost using effective interest rate. So ROU asset, I'll go as per Ind AS 16, either apply a cost approach or apply a revaluation approach. When I talk about a lease liability, I will recognize it at amortized cost using effective interest rate. Then someone will come up with a question of what is this amortized cost using effective interest rate. Now let's come back. I'll go back to the Excel sheet. I'll take the same example and I will start showing you how a leased asset and lease liability works. I'm trying to find out what is amortized cost using EIR. Effective interest rate, I'm just using the short form of EIR. Year opening amortized cost wrapping the text. Yeah. Effective interest, I've discounted it using 10%, so I will take the effective interest as 10% itself. Okay, so I can't take anything else. Whatever is the rate at which you discounted it, that will be the amount. Lease payments, whatever I'm paying each year, and then I will get back to my closing amortized cost. At the end of each year, what is the value at which I will find my lease liability. So first year, I started with an opening value of 95,815. Correct? That is the opening. I will take an effective rate of interest as 10%. Because that is a rate at which I have discounted it, I'll apply the same rate. My repayment every year is 20,000. That is a lease payment which I'm making. Now when I have to take the closing, I'll take the opening. I will add the interest. I'll deduct the lease payment and I'll get the next year's closing. Like this, if I do it for all the 5 years, you'll understand how the stream goes on. I have to apply dollars there because the value will be constant. That's it. Now I'll start applying over this period of throughout the 5 years. Now look at it. Now look at it. Automatically it became 0 towards the end of 5th year. Now what did I do? I've taken the opening amortized cost, taken an effective interest rate as 10%, that is the rate at which I've discounted, and I kept on calculating the effective interest. And then I've taken the lease payments, whatever is there, as a repayment of my liability, because the liability to pay lease rentals will keep on reducing as you keep on making the lease payments. So I will automatically get what is the closing amortized cost. Now look at the entry which I'm going to write here. Okay, I'll start recording the accounting entry guys here. So what did I do? I repaid 20,000. That is a logic, right? So I'll repay 20,000. So I'll put it up here. I'll write it as to cash or bank. That is how I repaid. But I repaid 20,000. That is what I've done. How will I pass the entry in the debits? The first one, I will recognize finance charges account debit. I'll recognize finance charges account debit if I'm talking about year one. Okay, this is the year one entry. Year one entry, finance charges account debit. What is the finance charges of the first year? 7,581. So I'll take that. First year's my